Council, are there any questions from the public on this item? Seeing none, we'll then go to the next item. Before we go to the public comments, I would like to say that item number 19 has been pulled from the agenda. We'll now go to public comments, which are for any items not on the agenda. Please state your name.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I'm Sue Sarter. I'm the principal at Los Mitas School. And I sent a letter to Mayor Dobby last week, but I wanted to read it here to the, in public, to the council and to the community, to express our gratitude to your employees who have made a big difference at our school. I wrote a letter to commend to the Public Works Department employees, Duncan Jones and David Kuhn, the project manager, for providing their time and expertise to secure and implement a successful Safe Routes to School grant for Los Mitas School. Our collaboration with Duncan began back in 2007 when we began exploring how to improve pedestrian and bicycle safety at the front of our school. Duncan walked us through the application process, drew up all the plans, created a budget, and provided lots of tips for how to write a successful grant. We were not granted the first application, so he met with us again to rework the proposal, and in 2008 we were granted a $114,000 grant to improve pedestrian travel to and from our school. Duncan was also instrumental in collaborating with County Public Works Department staff as the project was located in both Atherton and county jurisdictions. His persistence and dedication to help us obtain a grant to improve school safety was exceptional. And I'm glad you didn't go to that other party so you could hear this tonight. David's role was to implement the project. He not only made sure the work was completed on time with minimal disruption to school activities, but his outstanding creativity and expertise helped us stretch those funds to include all necessary work without having to submit an additional grant application. David was responsive to our requests and a true pleasure to work with. This Safe Routes to School grant allowed us to make significant improvements, particularly to the crosswalks by Barney Avenue and the Alameda. We widened the sidewalk, we repaired curbing, repainted lanes, and we re-landscaped. Duncan and David made sure that pedestrian and bicycle safety was improved for our students and families. On behalf of the Los Mitas School community, I commend their effort and extend our sincere gratitude. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments? Go ahead.
Good evening, Council. My name is Michael Stogner, and I am here as a victim's advocate on behalf of Mr. John P. Johns. He's asked me to read this letter publicly, and I will read it for you. It's dated March 16, 2011. Dear Mr. Danielson, Mr. Mayor, and members of the Atherton City Council, I am in receipt of the Chief of Police March 10, 2011 letter to advise me of the disposition of my February 26, 2010 citizens complaint. In my February 2010 citizens complaint, I voiced my objection to the following instances of police misconduct. Number 1, evidence tampering. Number 2, unlawful detention. Number 3, illegal search and seizure. Number 4, fraud. However, the Chief's letter clearly indicates that what I complained about was not what was purportedly investigated. Additionally, in subsequent communications with me, the Chief has misrepresented the nature, scope, and timing of my allegations. For example, in his March 15, 2011 email to me, Chief Carrera asserted that my February 26, 2010 citizens complaint was subsequently amended to implicate 2 additional officers of offenses I had already complained about. This is untrue. I did not amend my February 2010 citizens complaint. Instead, during the months of December 2010 through February 2011, I filed 4 new citizens complaints against 4 additional Atherton police officers, containing 3 new allegations of misconduct. These new allegations were as follows. 1, falsification of 2 police reports. 2, a second instance of evidence tampering. 3, deprivation of my civil rights under the color of authority. I filed these new citizens' complaints as a result of discoveries made from the review of public records of Atherton Town Clerk provided me during the months of March through December. I have asked the Chief of Police for information that will be necessary to clear up this misunderstanding and ensure 5 citizen complaints have been filed. It is for this reason that I asked the Chief of Police be instructed to stop the stonewalling. And he's asking the new city manager to do that. I asked to be provided with complete accounting for the results of 5 citizen complaints against 6 current Atherton police officers who are subject to my citizens' complaints. Thank you very much, John P. Johns. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments? John?
Thank you. In follow-up to that,
Just state your name.
yeah, John Buckeye. I think it is important to have a police complaint process that's fair and that's reflective of the difficult job that police officers have, as well as the high expectations we have of them, which in no small part might be due to the amount of the Atherton budget they receive. This week I did look at the press release that was issued about the complaints by Mr. Johns, which essentially said that what he complained about never happened. Now, I wasn't there in August 2007 in the parking lot. I was still working, and I didn't even know Atherton had a police department, quite frankly, which is probably the status of most residents. But despite the apparent pride that was taken in issuing the press release saying that what happened to Mr. Johns never happened, I can say that when he approached me without a job, when he had to sell his home in Palo Alto because he could no longer afford it, when he had to take his children out of the school in Palo Alto because he could no longer afford living there, when he was trying to find work in Alaska and could not because there was an 18-month criminal investigation about him that emanated from the parking lot incident, it's certainly not something I think anyone should be proud of. So, John received a letter saying what happened to him never happened. I received a letter saying that what happened to me never happened, even though I had a computer log of alterations that said I was a child abuser and it never happened. They said that didn't happen. Now clearly, I think if Chief Guerra were asked, he would say that the facts and circumstances of each case are different and he can't talk about them, and that he will hold legitimate complaints to be upheld. The problem is that it's never happened in Atherton. That is, I believe in the past 10 years, ever since Bob Brennan became the chief of police, there's never been a complaint by a resident that was deemed to be legitimate by the Atherton Police Department. The question is this normal? And I looked at the statewide statistics on police complaints and the number that are sustained, the number that are reported. And by the way, I think Jerry Carlson thought I had a PhD in physics. I actually have a PhD in statistics. And I looked into the data, and even though not many complaints are sustained in the state of California, the rate of complaint sustaining is well above 0. And the situation in Atherton is anomalous compared to the entire state of California. So I would ask the question, just to conclude, what is different about Atherton? Is it the air? Is it the water? Is it that people who live in Atherton make illegitimate complaints? Is it we hire perfect police officers who don't make mistakes? Or is it a lack of strong management and accountability by the council? I do think, Chief Guerra, that the ability to be self-critical and admit mistakes is a strength, not a weakness, and it assures and does not undermine. Thank you.
Other public comments? Well, seeing none, we will go to the regular agenda now, and the first item is a report out of closed session. Brennan?
As indicated on the agenda, the special meeting that took place at 5 p.m. this afternoon, the council did meet in closed session. There was no reportable action.
Okay. And John, for some of